Alright, hello everybody. Got a little side-by-side comparison, I guess you could say, of two of the Mora knives. The SL1 and the Mora SL2. You can see comparatively by the sheaths, the SL2 is a little bit longer of a blade. It's a little bit bigger overall. But we'll get to this in a minute. The first one here, this is the SL1. This is the one that my son got me for Christmas. This is the SL1. There's a little bit of tung oil on the handle here, just for a stain. And then I coated it with just a little bit of true oil, which is a stock finish that you'd put on rifle, shotguns, wooden stocks, for those of that nature, to help protect it from the weather, keep it waterproof. You can see the blades. Actually, you can see, I don't know if you can, camera's picking that up or not, but the point's actually missing on this one. This is how I received it, and there's a reason for that. There's a little bit of rusting that I need to get off that I'll just take some 3000 grit paper to and get that rust off. But these are both the SL1 and the SL2 are both laminated steel blades. What that means is you've got a center section of steel in the middle of this that is hardened to usually around 60 to 62 on the Rockwell hardness scale, and then there's another piece of steel on the outside of this folded over, the center being carbon. Usually the outside is a lesser carbon, but they fold it over, heat it and press it to weld it together, and the outside is left relatively soft. And what that gives you is a longer wearing blade and a lot stronger blade. It gives it a little bit of flex, not a whole lot, because these are relatively thick. This one's 1/8 of an inch. The SL2 would be just slightly over. But it just gives it a little bit more flex, a little bit more room to play around with. It makes it a little bit more forgiving. Of course, these are full tang, what they call a rat tang. And what that means is the tang on these knives start out at this thickness and then neck down and gradually taper until when they get to the end, you can see that little tiny pinhole there. They're real small tangs, but don't let it fool you. These are extremely strong, comfortable knives, easy to work with. The SL1 that I received came with the leather sheath and little piece of paracord around it, you know, to take it around my neck. It's got a folded over flap here, riveted on, and tapers down. Of course, it still has a drain hole in the bottom, and it's leather and not plastic. It'll last me a long time. And the reason why this knife was used when I got it, and I've told a couple of my closest friends on there about this, but I didn't want to. I don't want it to look like I'm bragging or anything, because it's just a name. But if you look on there, I don't know if the camera's picking this up good or not. It says Dave Canterbury Pathfinder, 12/7 of 2009. My son, a lot of you remember, he was on there talking to Dave. I kind of busted him one time, and this was what he was working out. The best I can recall, and like I said, I didn't come out and ask Dave anything, because it's a knife. Now, the name on there means something to me, as I'm sure it means a lot to y'all, but he's still just a guy, people. You know, I love him to death, but he's still just a guy. So this is still just a knife, but it means a lot to me because my son took the time to talk to Dave, worked out a deal with him, and this was, to the best of my knowledge, the first Mora that Dave used before he switched up to the SL2. And the rusting on the blade and everything is my work. I carry this knife every day. I use it every day. It's replaced my Becker Necker as my neck knife, unless I'm going out like after work and such. I'll put the Becker Necker on because it's a lot easier to conceal than this one is. And the Becker Necker is more of a tactical knife than this for me anyway. It has more self-defense abilities. But this is probably the most special present, or one of the most special presents I've ever received from my kids. And I use it I beat the snot out of it. So don't think because it's got a signature on the back of it that this is some kind of memento keepsake. Dave, if you're watching this, I am beating the crap out of this knife. I'm loving it. Now, the SL1 is a great all-around knife. You can see in using my hand as judgment, it's not a real small knife. It's got a little bit of size to it. The handle fits in my hand fairly well. It's comfortable. It's easy to hold on to, easy to maneuver and work when I'm doing things. But the SL2 is just, I guess you could say this is the little boy, and here comes daddy. You can see the handle is a good bit bigger, almost twice as big as on the SL1. The blade is a good ½ inch longer, and it is also, trying to see if I can show you a comparison, but the tallness of the blade from the edge to the back of the knife, the SL2 was about 1/8 of an inch taller this way. So it gives you a little bit more strength, a little bit more rigidity. Other than that, they're identical knives. It's just this is the SL1 on steroids. It's still a laminated steel blade. And I just got this one Thursday. It has not even, I hadn't even tried cutting a piece of paper with this, but you can tell the edge is just scary sharp on these knives. It comes with a plastic sheath. I can order a leather sheath for it as well, but for right now the plastic sheath works just fine. It has a couple of drain holes. The only thing I've done different is the drain holes on these are way up here on the top. I plan on putting a sewing needle on here and putting a piece of duct tape on it so these drain holes would be covered up. So I just nipped the very end of this sheath off to open up a drain hole in the bottom of it so that water can run out, keep my blade from rusting as much as I can. And whereas on the leather sheath on this SL1 is an actual belt loop that the cord slips through easy, on this one it's got a couple of holes here on either side for running a small belt through. I just put a piece of, this is actually a piece of leather thong. I ran it through there and then tied it just a regular square knot on each side so that I can adjust the size of this lanyard as I need to. Now I know this goes against the grain of what I've always preached about using a slip knot so it'll come off easy, but this will stay behind my shirt when I'm out in the woods. I don't really feel that bad about it, and this plastic is thin enough that if it really got snatched on, it'd probably snap anyway. The other reason for using the leather is this slips in and out pretty easy. It actually doesn't grip it as well as the leather sheath does. So I can pull that piece of leather thong in front of this, and when I've got it around my neck, just putting that piece of leather around the handle like that keeps it into the sheath, keeps it snug, and then all I got to do is slip it out the way, pull it right out, do what I need to do, put it back, and just put that little hoop back over it again, and that just gives me a little bit of added security that the knife isn't going to fall out and go anywhere. So that's just a quick little review on the differences between the SL1 and the SL2, and how I've got it strung up for my thong for neck carry. I'm gonna tell you, I ordered this from Rob actually at Canteen Shop. I ordered it on, I want to say it was Monday. It was here Thursday. I have not done anything to the handle other than just putting True Oil on it just to protect it, to keep any moisture from getting in there, keeping the oils and the moisture from my hand from getting in there, and it gives it a little bit of a grip when you having a hold of the knife. So highly recommend everybody should have an SL2 as part of their you know, bushcraft kit, bug out kit, what have you. You know, for $16 and some change from Rob, you can't beat this as just an all-around great bushcraft knife to go along in company with a good saw or a good hand axe. You'd have it made. I wouldn't have any problem batoning, you know, 4 or 5 inch trees with this, just doing it in sections if you have to. So that's it for the Mora review right now.